Hello, Connie here with Music Mentory. Today we're going to talk about how to develop a motif. So let's get started. Okay, in the workbook, the link to the workbook is in the description below. But in the workbook, here is the unit we're doing, motifs and melody. We talked about how to choose a mood and then how to create that mood into a motif. And now we're going to develop the motif. The reason that you develop a motif is because you might have a little tiny idea, but then that doesn't make a whole song. You need to expand that idea into a theme. And then that theme, even the whole theme, you can reintroduce throughout the piece. So think of if you were writing the score to a movie. Okay, so you've got a little kind of musical idea that represents maybe the hero of the movie. And then the hero does something and he's proud of himself. So you have the musical theme, the motif, in a proud sound. And then he's sad. So you've got the motif in a sad sound. And then he rescues whatever he needs to rescue. And it's a heroic sound. So you kind of change the motif around. Plus you want to just make it interesting. You don't just want to play the same thing over and over. So this is ways that you change it around and the human ear is going to pick up that similarity, even if we don't consciously think, oh, hey, that's the same thing played backwards. No, you'll just recognize, ooh, that's similar. And it creates a sense of home or foreboding, like something's the same, but something's very different. Why is it different? Anyway, you can play with it and create moods with this. So here we're going to talk about the ways to develop an idea, a motif, into a theme. The four-measure phrase that we've been writing, the parallel periods, can be considered a theme. All right, here's the ways. So I'm just going to read through these quickly, and then we'll go into them on the next page. A sequence, that's where you take the theme and you just repeat it higher or lower. A real popular one, a sequence, is Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Dun 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 dum. Okay, then it does it a little lower. Da 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 dum. And that repeats that same little motif. Da 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 dum. Da 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 dum. Da 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 dum. So it's higher and moves around. That's a sequence. Inversion is where you take the motif and you just flip it upside down. So what went down now goes up. Da 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 dum. That would be it. It goes up instead of down at the end. Retrograde is where you take that motif and play it backwards, like flip it this way, start at the end and write it backwards. Retrograde inversion is both of those, upside down and backwards. Augmentation, you double all the rhythm values. So, and what I mean by double is make faster. So a whole note, by doubling it, I don't mean make it eight counts. It's a half note. And I mean, you could take that to mean either way, but what I'm talking about is making it, oh, actually, augmentation, I'm getting those backwards because they are easy to flip around, is making it bigger. So you would double all the rhythms. So what was a quarter note will now be a half note. It will be slower. Diminution is where it goes half the speed. It shrinks up all the counts. So a quarter note is now an eighth note, so it's going to go faster. Okay, note scramble is where you just take the same notes of your motif. There's usually only 4 or 5, and you just scramble them up. Okay, and there's ways of like a formula to come up with every possible scramble of your notes. You don't have to do that. People like John Williams do that. They go through all the hundreds of options, so they have all those to choose from. Rhythmic scramble, that's where you keep the notes exactly the same, but you mix up the rhythm. Like if there were quarter, quarter, eighth notes, 2 eighth notes, quarter, you got 2 eighth notes. Now we'll put the 2 eighth notes on the first count. Eighth notes, the first 2, and then quarter, quarter, quarter. So you just change the rhythm around, but keep the notes in the right order. And the mode change is where you change from major to minor. Those are really the 2 main modes we're working with right now. So major and minor. All right, now we're going to go through an example of how to do that. And let me see if I can make this a little bigger. that might work a little better. Okay, the original motif. I'm just going to create a motif of, how about E? Okay, I need to pick something to draw with. I'll do these in blue. All right. E. 1. Skip down a third. 2. And then let's do 2/8 notes, still going down in steps. And a quarter note at the end. All that is just kind of descending with a skip and some steps. So it's going to be... Okay, that's our motif. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, over here, if we did a sequence, we're going to do the exact same motif, but just, I'm going to start it now on, let's start it on C. C, see it starts a third lower. Then it skips down a third. Now you can go with exactly how many half steps that is, if it's a major third or a minor third. For our purposes here, we're just going to go, this is kind of a loose development. If you want to be exact, you'd count like, okay, this is a major third, this is a minor third, so we'd have to make this into a flat to make it the exact distance, but it's a skip of a third, so we're doing kind of a loose version of it. All right, sequence down a third, and then we keep going down, but these two are in steps, and we'll end on, so here's the original, here's the sequence. See, it's the same. Sounds a little different. Okay, inversion. Now we're going to take that original motif and invert it. So it starts, all right, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to move this E down an octave because all these notes are going to go up high. It's just going to be a bunch of ledger lines up there. So we're starting on E, down an octave because of my license to do so. All right, we're going to, instead of going down a third, we skip up a third. And then we go step, step as eighth notes. And we go up another step to finish it. Here's what it sounds like. Kind of cool. All right, retrograde. So now we'll start with that G. The last G becomes first. And then 2/8 notes, A, B. And then C, and my dog is letting me know someone has just pulled into the parking lot. And then an E. So here's what it sounds like, retrograde. So look, if you did the original and go right to retrograde, sounds kind of cool. Okay, retrograde and inversion. Okay, so now I'm going to take this inversion and do it retrograde. So we'll start with this C, and then 2/8 notes, and a G, and then skip down to an E. See, it all has the same flavor, but variety. Augmentation. Okay, I gotta look back up at the original. So augmentation, now we're going to need to split this into 2 measures, and I'll have to squish it. So it's going to be half note, quarter, quarter, half note. Just 1, 2, 1, 2. Slows things way down. Diminution. This is only going to get 2 counts now. So instead of 4 counts in the measure, we're only going to have 2. It's going to go, and I'm trying to remember it. These 2 are 8th notes. And then these, oops, I wrote the exact same note, are going to be 16th notes, but it's going to be attached under the same bar with this 8th note, so it'll look like that. Okay, kind of cool. Note scramble. Okay, so we've got E, C, B, A, G. So from E, C, B, A, G. Oh, and you kind of can't see that. It's behind my head. Okay. Those are the notes we have. Quarter, quarter, eighth notes, quarter, right? Yeah. Okay. So our first quarter note this time, let's have it be A. For the next quarter, let's do C. That stem should have gone down. A, C, so we've done A and C. How about G, B as eighth notes? And then E up at the top as a quarter note. Okay, so this will sound a little more mixed up. Okay, again, there's a formula where you do this note first and all the varieties of that. You could probably get 30 variations just of those 4 notes. Okay, a rhythmic scramble. Okay, we're going to have E, C, B, A, G, the same, but where do we put those eighth notes now? Let's put them here. Eighth notes, quarter, quarter, quarter. I like that one. And then mode change. So it was major. Now we change it to the E minor. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, in the key of E minor. Actually, you could end on a sharp right here. That's going to make that major going up, but if we invert it, it's kind of a complicated reason of why that would work, but see how that changes the sound right there at the end? And we haven't gone into major and minors or the modes or anything like that. So at this point, to change the mode, maybe you could just play around with different, put a B flat on there and see which one sounds. I like that G sharp at the end. Kind of resolves to A. So that's some variations of how to develop the motif, how to get a whole bunch of different variations, and then you get to choose from all these. What do you want to put in your song? Which 2 sound good together? And then we line up the harmony, and we will talk about all that next time. So, like a perfect cadence, this is the end.